Hello again, traders, and welcome back to the Hot Stocks Outlook for April 22nd, 2022. Hope y'all are having a great week out there in the financial markets, and as always, plenty to cover here in today's Outlook. We're going to start out with shares of Regeneron, which we looked at last week, so we'll update those forecasts. We also have Beacon Roofing Supply, NVIDIA, Skywork Solution, Walt Disney, and lastly, shares of Verizon. But let's start out here with shares of Regeneron. And we looked at this last week, but we'll go through all the really steps of understanding how all these indicators work, and we can see those updated forecasts and how this can really help traders get ahead of the next move in the marketplace. And so what we have here with Regeneron is daily price action. So each one of those candles is representing a full and complete trading day, and you'll see that this data is going all the way back to really the beginning of March. And right up against all of that daily price action and candles, you have a black line and also a blue line there. So the black line that you're seeing there is a simple moving average. So that's a very common technical indicator. And in this case, what it is it's a 10-day simple moving average that'll look back over the previous 10 closes, add those all together, and then divide by 10. And that's a good tool to smooth out the existing market data and let a trader know where has the market been over this given period of time. But traders obviously need to be ahead of the next move and understand where are prices going next. And so what we're able to do is actually compare that black value, so that very simple lagging moving average, you might call it, to this blue value. And for that number to get plotted and calculated against the chart every evening, this is where Vantagepoint's technology of artificial neural networks come into play. And they're specifically doing what's called intermarket analysis. So they're looking at known market relationships that are known to drive and influence specifically Regeneron. Now, that can be things like global stock indices. That can be things like ETF groups, individual stocks, interest rates, global currencies, futures, and commodity prices. And today we're seeing how when oil starts moving around, it starts rippling through and it has effects everywhere in the marketplace. But these subtle relationships are happening all the time. And we can really derive some very important price clues and information by doing this type of analysis and relying on these indicators. And so whenever that blue line is crossing above the black line, it's suggesting average prices are going to start moving higher. But there's other indicators here that also utilize this technology and really round out the forecast. Now, at the very bottom of the chart, you'll see you have this bar that goes from green to red back to green. And this is also an indicator that's utilizing that neural network technology and doing intermarket analysis, but it's tuned to solve a different problem. Where with our predicted moving average, we're trying to get average prices moving forward and a very accurate measure of that. The neural index is looking ahead just 48 hours at a time. So very short-term strength or weakness in the market within that overall trend. And so this can be very helpful for traders to get ahead of short-term weakness, but not necessarily panic. Maybe buy on the dip, give you that information that makes you make a much better, more logical trading decision. And so we can walk this forward, and we also have a predicted high and low. And so we do this every week, and we can go back and look and see how accurate all of these predicted highs and lows are. But again, it's that neural network technology now tuned to solve a different problem of finding what is the high value likely to be for the next trading day? What is the low value likely to be for the next trading day? And again, really helps traders get that understanding of where are some valuable short-term levels to maybe put limit orders, profit targets, and the like. So when we come back, and I'm just using Regeneron to update everything here, and you see that, well, one thing is these predicted highs and lows do an excellent job of guiding the trader. When you get run-ups like that, you might get these bigger pullbacks. And there's some other tools you can use to really gauge that, even within the Vantagepoint software for longer-term trend. But this is where these tools are exceptionally helpful to help you understand that here's an area where you can get long, take profits on longs, fine. But what has happened recently? Well, we see that the blue line is crossed below the black line. And this is very important because this isn't the first place where you're seeing weakness in the market. We talked a couple of weeks ago about how all the tech stocks are really showing a lot of weakness from those stocks that were doing really well from February 24th, 25th, where the market bottomed out. Those stocks are doing great, but something pivoted here and you want to hedge or possibly short the market. And we've seen a lot of weakness come through. And if you're trading Regeneron, it's become very clear that, look, that shifted literally yesterday and is saying short up at these predicted highs and potentially giving a really nice entry into the market, which is looking a little bit more weak here. But let's move on and move through this. Now, one place where you've seen at least a glimmer of hope here is in the capital goods space. But here's Beacon Roofing Supply, and we see that in the middle of March, we have this blue line crossing below the black line, a lot of weakness. But just look at these forecasts where the neural index gets bullish. You'll see that 48 hours of strength there. but the blue line remains below the black line and the trend moves lower. You'll notice how the neural index very early gets bullish here, warning of that short-term strength, at least coming into the market, but we actually do get some crossovers here and some strength. And of course, if you're looking for a place to get long, the capital goods over the past couple of weeks with these crossovers coming through, and your IntelliScan can help with identifying that, has been a better place to maybe take positions on the bullish side. And we looked at Caterpillar, we saw that strength come in towards the end of last week, and the whole sector's actually done fairly well here. But tech stocks have not. And so it just makes it very clear that, look, you need to hedge your portfolio. You need to be a little bit more creative, maybe take some long and short positions. But here in NVIDIA, very clear as far as highlighting that weakness that's coming through the broader market, the stock indices, the NASDAQ, and especially tech stocks is where we really see that manifesting as far as a lot of weakness and very bearish forecast from the Vantagepoint software. So here we have NVIDIA with a crossover here on April 1st to the downside. We see that predicted highs and lows coming through and letting you know, look, you want to short up at these predicted highs. There's a gap up where you'll just get filled. The market moves lower. See these predicted highs doing an excellent job all through here day after day after day to help you make a better trading decision each and every day while you're potentially trading NVIDIA shares. And so you can see how, depending on your time frame, maybe you're a day trader, maybe you're a swing trader, but with this reliable information that's going to be, consistently doing the same thing day in and day out and utilizing this approach of intermarket analysis to help you understand where, hey, you need to get out of the way of some of this stuff. You got a 26% decline in just the past 13 trading days off $72 a share. That is very significant. See, a couple hundred shares there, it's a $14,000 move. Obviously, that'll change based on the stock price, but opportunity to the downside here in some of this tech space. Here's Skywork Solution, and you see a very similar picture. And this is where the Vantagepoint forecast, and notably the scanning feature within Vantagepoint, can help traders identify exactly when these shifts are happening, and that blue line is crossing below the black line, accompanying some of your other short-term tools. And so it can highlight, okay, well, if I want to take a long position, where can I do that? If I want to take a short position, where can I set limit orders and really try to get that excellent entry potentially into a market? And you see how this is very effective, not just for the trend trader to potentially recognize that shift early, but managing that trade, pulling more and more money out of it and improving the overall position if you desire to remain short. So here's Skywork Solution, things looking very bearish going into the end of the week here. And overall, the forecast, very similarly seeing just a tremendous amount of weakness here very quickly, right? 12% move in the past 13 trading days. Again, just a couple hundred shares there is about a $3,200 move to the downside. So, it's important to hold on to your profits, and all those markets that have done really well, even from that February, where the NASDAQ and S&P bottomed out late February. There's a lot of opportunities to the bullish side, but you really wanted to recognize that shift going into really the beginning of April, the end of March. And there's plenty of places where we've seen that weakness manifest itself. Here's Walt Disney World, crossover the downside, neural index, very bearish. And again, when you're trying to find those places of where can I trade, where can I get bullish exposure, where can I get maybe some bearish exposure, again, you've got that daily guidance every single day with the predicted highs and lows. I always love showing these days here because, when you start using a tool like this that, the neural index is 48 hours, you've got these predicted highs and lows, and you see this happen quite a bit where you're seeing you're not getting to this predicted low, and you're actually moving it, how I see this, you're moving to the previous day's predicted high, and then sure enough, the trend continues, things bottom out, and you're, really moving much lower. But the thing is you can only be in this mode of, short, take profits on shorts, right? If your, trading strategy is longer than, 5 minutes or so, it's very clear that all you'd want to be doing is exploiting that short side to the market and utilizing those levels that have come through to guide you as far as where price action is likely to trade and where you can benefit from having those orders waiting. Now here's Verizon, a little bit more defensive of a stock, but nonetheless the forecast working the exact same way and seeing some strength here, right? So this crossover to the upside, neural index bullish, and again you can see that the guidance here over the past couple of weeks, it says, okay, well, if this is a market you're trading, where do you have orders waiting? Again, that'd be a gap down fill there. Where do you have orders just waiting to go scoop up involved in this market? And so Verizon's done fairly well, a little bit more defensive of a potential play there, and we see more of the traditional tech stocks actually doing fairly poorly here. And Verizon shares up about 7.5%, and a big healthy dividend paid out there too. So we'll see how some of this plays out, but it's just very important to get ahead of these really important shifts, like the shift in February, like the shift at the beginning of this month, especially in the NASDAQ and tech stocks. And this is how, going into periods of volatility, the portfolio can really be set up and structured to benefit from that. And that's where Vantagepoint really helps you out and helps you recognize these things as soon as possible with the help of these predictive indicators, so you can really get ahead of these moves and manage them effectively. So once again, this has been the Hot Stocks Outlook for April 22nd, 2022. Thank you all for watching. Best of luck and bye for now.